How many of your students, raise hands? And how many of you are working on some startup idea out of this? Big bunnies. Okay, so I'm Sony Joy. I'm from Kerala. I did my engineering back in College of Engineering, Toronto. And this is pretty long back, kind of makes me feel old when I say this, but 10 years back. 2003 is when, not even 10 years back, started up post 10 years back. We went into college in 2003. And back in those days, starting up was not really fashionable, especially when you were in college. You were looked down upon by all your professors and lecturers, and like, what are you guys doing? Like, you're cutting class and all that. So for them, starting up was something like an excuse to bunk your classes. But we nevertheless were beat by the entrepreneurial bug, and more importantly, board of electronics and communication on the rest. So I have done everything from selling fireworks to t-shirts to books to all that jazz before we landed up on an opportunity with DPL Mobile. In a 3-month span, we sold around 15,000 SIMs by way of viral marketing, and that too DPL was kind of lagging in that market, especially in that segment, student segment. So absolutely zero marketing cost, and we ended up selling these many SIMs across around 65 engineering colleges. So that was like a crash course in business, and I mean, that was a short version of MBA that we could do. Long story short, 10 lakhs in profits in college, second year, all the crazy shit we could do, all the Goas and Bangalore's and coming all the way to Bombay only to be in Hawaii and chat for a weekend and going back. So all that just happened. And 3 months of partying and later you realize that it was fun building that business and building that network and making money and creating a model and having people working for you and having that multiple layers of resellers under you and all that. So we decided we should work on something more long-term, something more scalable, and something to do with technology. So it was random because we were supposed to be engineers and all that. So we went back to DPL and said, we want to do something tech, give us some opportunity. And they asked us to do something which they had given on no way to do, and on no way had quoted a huge amount and 6 months time. We didn't know that. We quoted something like super small and like 10 days, 15 days time. And they said, try it. We ended up delivering it, and they were like super happy with the experience, and rest was pretty much history when it comes to our first startup, Mobme. So in 5 years, we built a business with around 200 people working for us, $5 million turnover, offices pretty much in Bombay, Gurgaon and elsewhere, working with some 23 circles of various operators, including Airtel and Vodafone and all those guys. But looking back through that entire 6 years, so this is around 2012, and when we look back at what happened from the point of starting up in 2006 to then, there are a bunch of good things, bad things, and the ugly ones. So the good thing was that we were able to witness the whole growth of mobile in this country, right? From 90 million subscribers to 10x of that. And most of our products used to have like 5 million, 10 million subscriber base, though it was all white label. So nobody knew it was done by Mobme. You would think it's either an Apple product or a Vodafone product. But I remember speaking at, I think, Unplugged on stage with Sachin Bansal, and we had more users than Flipkart in 2007, because that was a time when it was a walled garden and you had to be with the telecom operator if you wanted to have like huge distribution, right? So it was a fun experience, profits and working with large enterprises, governments, regulators and all that. The biggest negative point was that we could never build a brand which is facing the consumer, because operators would end up white labeling it, right? So we wanted to get out and do something of our own, and we always wanted to crack mobile payments for some reason. And we tried all the rules by sitting with the telco or inside the telco ecosystem by trying carrier grade operator, carrier billing, like operators, talk time billing system. So that, and then the wallet system, like how M-Pesa works in Kenya. And we figured that in India, if you want to crack payments, you can't crack it with telcos, because the regulatory environment is so structured that you either have to be a bank or have to work with the bank to really crack it, or some form of a license under the RBI. And this was the point in time when telcos were very adamant that they wouldn't want to be called or be evolved into a dumb pipe. So these guys are like crazy, trying to do all the arm twisting with all the partners, and I've literally seen the likes of WhatsApp being at the mercy of operators. Operators saying we'll block you, it's against our customers' revenues and all that. And then smartphones happened, and like in a big way, right? So 44 million smartphones in 2013, and the entire game changed, and then the rules of the game changed. The tables turned. Revenue impact on telcos, margin pressure on partners, and we decided that we have to pivot and have one more source of revenue, or otherwise we'll get screwed in the whole game. So all the web portals died, app-based stuff started happening. Everyone bypassed telcos, and at this point we started doing a bunch of projects with banks, starting with the southern banks like Federal Bank and then the Corporation Bank. Some things with ICICI, and we were just learning the ropes, trying to figure out how we can use our experience and our exposure into telecom and scale and all those things, user experience and stuff into a different sector like banking. And when that happened, in that small duration of time itself, all the projects that we were working with banks started winning awards and stuff. Like again, awards goes to the bank, but only we know that it was done by us. So at least we got the feeling that we were doing something right. Very coincidentally, we bumped into the whole IMPS and MPCI framework and the platform and how that institution is structured. And we realized that it's such a great, beautiful platform, but it doesn't have a uniform front end. So I'm talking still about 2013 times, okay? And all these banks have written off IMPS because of this technical problem called MMID, or probably a hard to communicate consumer problem called MMID. How many of you know about IMPS, Instant Mobile Payment System? Okay. And how many of you heard about MMID? Yeah, this is the problem they are talking about. So every customer had to know about MMID if you want to do an instant transaction, and that's why it never worked. So they had almost like completely lost hope, and it was in mid-13 when we first had the idea of Chillr, and kind of dying of us to do back then, but then we went straight to NBC and said, guys, you're missing the whole thing. Like, you have a great backend, but you don't have a front end which will work beautifully across banks. You should probably build that. And how about we build it this way? And they said, no, we can't do that. We are not a consumer-facing organization. We are guys who will work with banks, and the banks do all that. We kept insisting. They said, no. If you're so particular, go with banks and work with them. You do it yourself. And thinking of it right now, if they had said something else, if they had said yes, this would have been a software project for us. Okay. So good that they said no. So after some time, we started bouncing on the idea with various banking guys and various prospective investors, random conferences and all that. And at some point in November 2013, one of the European banks who came down for one of the sessions just randomly was talking to us, and I pitched this idea, and they said, this is good. Like, if you can spin this off from me and make it a different entity, and if you can crack a couple of banks to work with you, we can invest in this. And that's when we actually had the conviction that, okay, this is an idea which is not just another product, but it's something which could evolve into a company itself. So we went back to the drawing board in December 13. We took out like 5 people from Opni to work exclusively on Chillr. So the head of product, the head of engineering, all those guys was taken from Opni itself. So we started working. Lots of iterations, feedback from all the banks we knew, the friendly guys we knew inside banks. And in 3 months' time, we put together something, the MPV sorts, which actually worked with the SMS backend. So you go in to show a demo, and these guys are like super amazed. And then you tell them that, you know what, this is working with an SMS backend. You give us APIs, and this can work 100x faster and probably 1000x more secure. And the moment we said that, you should have seen the face of these people. They're like really amazed that there is technology which even they had, but could be done in a different way, that the experience is so much better. So we bounced off with like a random bunch of names, and I don't know how we have associated this way. So in Mallu, Chillra is same as the Chillr out here, and Marathi and a lot of other languages are Chillr, all those different variations. So we took out the A and made the polar version of Chillr, the registered domain and all that jazz, and started working. And it was, for some reason I personally thought that it will be the smaller banks who will agree first, because they are more risk-taking, they are more nimbler and all that jazz. Pitched almost 6 of 7 of them. all of them said yes. Not yes exactly, they are all positive about it. But nobody was giving a definitive yes. But what I realized later was two negatives actually. One, most of these banks didn't have the technical wherewithal or the bandwidth to actually build or do something completely new. Two, they're all scared of the whole regulatory system. They don't want to be the first in doing something because they're scared that in the process they might break some law or some regulation and they'll get screwed. Getting under the hold of the whole RBI system is not something that they would want to do at all. So, because of a lack of choice, I started pitching to the medium-sized and large-sized banks. Again, they are also positive, but nobody was saying a yes until we met HDFC Bank, which was the 14th bank we met, and this was like July 2014. And these guys said yes, let's do this. And even after the best efforts and estimation, we still missed another 3 months, mostly because of the vendor delays which happens at the banks. And so, if you thought that the banks are slow, the vendors of banks are the actual reasons why they are slow, and they are like super slow. So we thought of launching in December 2014, and we ended up launching in Feb. It is still okay at least looking back. And they sent out a small email to a bunch of users just to see, just what how people are responding to it, and they loved it. And while all of this was happening, the one thing that all the industry experts were telling us was that it is impossible to convince a bank to partner with you in your brand name. In fact, there have been banks who have told us on our face, like large banks in India who have told us on our face that, you know what, we only work, unless you're an Apple, Google or a Visa, why would I even write on your brand name? Like, you tell me you white label and compute with. So the same dialogue which telco guys were giving us all these 6-7 years, these guys also had started giving us. And we were very adamant, this is, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but if it happens our way. So we were very adamant on the way we wanted to do this. So against all the odds, we were able to pull it off, and it was kind of miraculous that the pulling off happened with a bank like HDFC, which was great for us. 33% of India's credit card user base is there. So that's like the best user base you can hope for. But when we launched, the experience was not that great. Simply linking your bank account to Chillr was like a 2-day experience, right? You have to get your PIN, then this guy calls to the call center, you get an SMS after like 1 day, then you use the PIN to be changed once before you start using it, and still people are using it. So for some weird reason, everyone who installed the app and linked it for once started talking to the rest of the people that, linking is a pain, but the moment you have linked this is like solving all the problems you ever had with mobile banking and everything else. So that day, it kind of worked in our favor. Over a period of time, we started improving those experience issues as well. And then Aditya, who's like the MD of HDFC Bank, sends out this mail to all the HDFC. How many HDFC users here? HDFC accounts. So some of you must have seen this email from Aditya. So this mail goes out, and this guy was our brand ambassador practically inside the HDFC framework. All the people inside HDFC, the layers down, when they were saying that why are you even promoting a third-party brand? It's like not even our app. What is the whole logic? We in fact have an app of ours, which is Space app, that should be promoted. He was like, do this. This is what customers want. Just support them with them and make this happen. So that really worked in our favor. And parallel to all of this, like all entrepreneurs have to do, you have to do your team building, to manage your cash flows, raise your funds. So we were again fortunate enough to raise our Series A from Sequoia Capital. We raised 6 out of 7.5 million A round from Sequoia, and we had Bloom and Unicorn also participating in that round. And later, Kunal Shah, the founder of Freecharge, also has came in on an angel capacity into Chillr. So all of this happened between July and September, October of 2015. And when we got the term sheet from Sequoia, we were doing around 2,000 transactions a day. So in fact, 8 months before that, when I first met the team, I had asked them at what point will you invest in me? And they said, get to 5K transactions a day and then we'll invest. So at the time, we hit 2K, they figured that the momentum was good enough and we were doing stuff as per what we had promised, and they have been seeing us for a long duration of time. By the time the money hit the bank account, we were doing 5K transactions a day. So they had a perfect timing, and they kept the word. So the beginning, we were talking about an individual customer spending around $1,400 per month on Chillr. And they were doing like less than 2 transactions. In fact, it was 1.2 transactions on an average per user per month. And we had almost more than 80% of the traffic coming from the top 8 metro cities in the country. At the entire of 2015 calendar year, we did almost 100 crore worth of transactions. Today, we do multiple hundreds of crores worth of transactions every month. We have more than 100,000 users using the app every single day. On an average, they open the app at least 20 times in a month, and they do 7 transactions per user per month on an average. And the pitch that we have given to Sequoia when the whole investment conversations were happening, the target that we had set out for ourselves for end of March 2016 was that we do 2 transactions, 2.5 transactions per day, maybe per month. So 7 is like 3x our expectations on that. We have done a dozen plus bank partnerships on the direct basis. We are just going live to 20 more banks with the UPI integration. And more than 50% of our volume comes from the top 8 cities. Less than 50% of the volume comes from the top 8 cities, which is good, which means that you're spreading more into the bank directly. People are spending 6x of what they used to spend in the first quarter of launching, when you compare with the current numbers. We are rated 4.4 on the Play Store, which is the highest compared to any mobile banking app out there of any bank. And we are also judged as the best of 2015 by App Store, and we're the only fintech app to be featured from India in that list. So, pretty good stuff, and all of this was powered by something called Invite and Earn, which brings in 70% of our users. So, it's our existing users mostly who bring more users to us. We don't incentivize the guy who comes in, we incentivize only the guy who tells more about us. So, you're just being motivated to talk about your good experience, and if that is convincing enough for someone else to come in, that brings in our virality. So, virality helps even now. I personally believe that, so this is the part where this was should be interesting for you. So, it's just the tip of the iceberg, like what you see around happening with all the Paytms of the world, Freecharge, MobiPay, everyone, and the banks doing this, all this accelerators coming up around fintech specifically, is just tip of the iceberg, because in 3 years, or probably like 3.5 years, consider like March 2020, we should be talking about at least like 350 million plus people in India who would be using mobile banking in some form or the other. Like could be payments, could be like a number of other things. And there are so many layers on top of payments where there is so much innovation to happen or so much disruption potential. Like for example, credit, savings, insurance, investments, wealth management, and all these things. So our funda is to completely reimagine banking from a back-end point of view or an experience point of view, and in end consumer terms, the whole idea is to simplify money. So that's the agenda for us.